Hey, Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. In this post, I want to document the heating up propaganda towards Mexicans at this moment in history. Last weekend, at this time, the 4th of July weekend, we got the story about the Hispanic man in San Francisco who supposedly shot a young woman recently or randomly. And then later, the detail came out that he found the gun and it was a federal agent's gun. We decoded that story. I showed how it's all part of this ongoing hoax, coded with the same numbers. That story came on the back of Donald Trump's racist remarks against Mexicans, heating up the race war as being sparked by the media. And now here we are this weekend, and we're getting a story about a Mexican drug lord who's a threat to the United States escaping from prison. So let's watch the mainstream coverage propaganda, and then we'll break it all down. Here we go.
But El Chapo Guzman was able to construct a tunnel that was almost a mile long, 1,500 kilometers, that went from his shower. There was a tunnel in the shower, a hole. Then they found a vertical descent with stairs that went into this tunnel. The tunnel had ventilation through PVC piping. It had electricity. It had lighting. And it had a vehicle powered by a motorcycle, apparently, to take the dirt out they had been building for a very long time. It ended in a construction site in a neighborhood adjacent to this maximum security prison. And now the authorities are looking for this man, one of the most sought after in the world, and who is apparently locked up for good.
Truth Seeker, I just want to point out how television all over has 33 coding. See this 40 TV, F is 6, O breaks down to 6, R is 9, O is 6, T is 2, V is 4. 6 plus 6 is 12, plus 9 is 21, plus 6 is 27, plus 2 is 29, plus 4 more is 33. And as we'll see, this story is all full of 33, even the TV network.
We do know that the Mexican president is expected to address the public for the first time since this second escape by El Chapo. He's in Paris. We are waiting on that. As soon as we get that, of course, we'll bring it to our viewers. But there has already been immediate criticism that authorities might be in collusion here. What do we know at this point?
It's hard to explain how someone can build a tunnel almost a mile long, 1,500 meters under a maximum security prison, with the precision to reach his cell, with all the details that have been disclosed. And already 18 prison guards have been arrested and taken to Mexico City for interrogation. But what analysts are saying, experts are saying, is this is not possible without corruption. Now, Joaquin El Chapo Guzman was considered at one point one of the richest men in the world. His fortune exceeded $1 billion according to Forbes magazine. So he had the power, he had the knowledge. His Sinaloa cartel has for years been known to dig tunnels under the border for their drug trafficking. So they had the people, they had the expertise. And the questions come now, why wasn't this thought of, and why wasn't he sent to the United States? The United States wanted him in extradition, but Mexico considered that they could take care of him, and now Mexico is going to have to explain how this man got away for the second time. The first time was in a laundry cart, now it's in this very elaborate and articulate tunnel.
So he escaped in a laundry cart in 2001. He was captured again in February of 2014. That story broke on February 22nd, 222. I documented those stories, which we'll get to back then. But as for this current one, just notice how everywhere they have El Chapo with the marks around it. They want you to decode that word in gematria. And of course, it's a word with 33 gematria. Just like a number put on the nation of Mexico. The word Mexican in Mexico both sums to 33. The Mexican-American War ended in history on the 33rd day of the year, February 2nd. His birth name, Joaquin Guzman, notice his birth name gematria is 33. Guzman, 28. They say Freemasonry is huge in Mexico. Freemasonry is an international, worldwide thing. They say in Mexico it's even more perverse here than it is in the United States. So it's not a stretch to think that this is another Masonic agent. For years, it's well known that the United States has used men, individuals, cartels as their own fronts to funnel drugs into this nation. It's been exposed by many. And I suspect that Joaquin Guzman is another one of these individuals. This article asserts that he's still the world's most powerful drug lord. As they just said in the reporting, he was once a billionaire. So here's the reporting from February 22nd, 2014. They are making a big deal that they captured this man. He'd been missing since 2001. It's quite a span of time to be escaped from prison out operating. In that same period of time, they also referred to him as Shorty. Shorty, they put the marks around it, and would you believe the gematria of Shorty? It's just like El Chapo. See, Truth Seeker? The way they code their agent names and taunt us with it in the media? Shorty El Chapo. Then around this same time, this article was from March, they captured someone named El Chayo. Which is a joke because P and Y in Pythagorean gematria are both 7 letters, so it's the same thing. El Chayo, 33. El Chapo, 33. El Chayo, 33. His full name is Nazario Moreno Gonzalez, which has some interesting gematria. He ran the cartel called La Familia Michoacana, which has some interesting gematria as well. We often find that 3374 pairing. It's deja vu drug lord style. Mexican authorities say they gunned down notorious cartel leader Nazario Moreno Gonzalez on Sunday. By most measures, it sounds like a major victory, but in the government's fight against organized crime. But there's a catch. He was supposed to be dead already. Truth Seeker, the point is if you read all these stories, notice this was from 3/11, March 11th. There's just so many curiosities in them, and it seems that the reporting is more to clue in those who are awake to the scam that is upon us all. You know? Escaping from maximum security prisons in a laundry cart, escaping in maximum security prisons with a very long built tunnel under the entire prison. This comes on the back of the Shawshank Redemption prison escape story with the power tools up in New York, a complete hoax. They're just making fun of us, Truth Seeker. As they always are. All of these stories are a joke upon us. They're all feeding an agenda. Right now, it's obvious that the agenda is more Mexican hate, which isn't a new agenda. I mean, my whole life there's been hatred for Mexicans. I can think back to when I was in high school. There was this week of the year that I used to really like back then. We got to have a political debate as a school. It was a big assembly, chance to speak your voice. And it's funny to think, we're kids living in Washington State on the West Coast, but not near the border. And you know what almost all the kids wanted to debate about even back then? And this is the 90s and early 2000s. Even back then, it was all about keeping the Mexicans out of the country and building fences. That's what was on the minds of the teenagers growing up in this nation that I was going to high school with, that many of you were going to high school with. We're just all victims to this racial programming, and it gets our minds fixated on things they don't need to be fixated on. The drugs in this nation aren't funneled in by Mexicans. They're funneled in by the governments that also give us the laws with the steep penalties. That way they make money through the dispersion of drugs, the selling of drugs, as well as the incarcerating of the people who are caught possessing them. Running the whole spectrum, controlling the whole show. So El Chapo escapes via a tunnel. I guarantee you this is another bullshit story, just contributing to the racial divide and the propaganda that's already so widespread. Don't be fooled, Truth Seeker. Actors and agents out there. So sad. Alright, Truth Seeker, until next time.